Folks, welcome to the Jake Feinberg Show, and we're here in Alameda, California, with a deep spiritual being, DJ Leslie C. Welcome to the Jake Feinberg Show.
Thank you.
Um, what is your earliest memory of rhythm? Like, were you dancing when you were a young girl?
Actually, we didn't have music in my house. My mom didn't like music, and my dad really didn't listen to any. And at church, we heard music, but it was terrible music. And so the
More
first,
just like choral singing kind of stuff.
yeah, just like piano with the whole congregation singing out of tune. Like elderly ladies singing too loud. Kind of almost funny, but not.
But not
But
because they were
serious.
serious. Yeah.
They were very serious. And
Right. So how did that change your? How did that or shape your attitude about good authentic music?
well, I probably like rebelled and went totally wild and listened to like I want to ball you all night long. Remember that tune? That old 40s. Um,
Or Big Boss Man, you know?
yeah, I mean a
Yeah.
lot of people did that song. I'm trying to think. Was it Fleetwood
It
Mac
was
or
the raunchier stuff.
the raunchy stuff? Hendrix and Janis Joplin. That's the kind of stuff I remember. And early Beatles, which wasn't so bad, but Stones. And the lyrics were like, whoa, what are they talking about? Is that sex? Is that what they're talking about? And they didn't talk, it wasn't very, all that nice towards women. It wasn't very PC. We're talking 60s and 70s. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's
It,
like when you're a
it-
little girl, it's like, wow, is that how, what I am?
well, I guess more to the point, like, you know, was it a generational thing? Meaning, like, the conservatism of your parents versus the messages that you were hearing in the bands that you idolized, saying, "I'm thinking the same things they are," and I dig the way they're expressing it.
I think it was like probably generational because I definitely sort of gravitated towards R&B and jazz pretty early on. You know, none of my friends did, but I did. Like if it was rock, it was like 10 years after, or
Did you go see James Brown?
yeah, I did.
You want to talk about that experience? Where did you see him at the
It was
Fillmore?
funny. No, I saw him at the Sir Francis in San Francisco in Union Square, and they did the cape and the whole thing. It was pretty funny. But
It was pretty glitzed out at that point.
well, but who was great was Chuck Berry. I remember driving an hour to go see Chuck Berry as a teenager, and he did his little shuffle, his walk on the stage, and I just remember dancing in the aisles. Yeah, he was great.
Did you are a blues? You're a blues DJ. I mean,
Yeah, I like
you
blues.
yeah, and I guess did you find yourself? Um, when did you actually get on the radio?
Well, I went to college to be on the radio, and I got
Where you go
out.
to college?
Oh, just locally in the junior colleges in Laney, and they had programs, and they had a.
When was the first time you were on the air?
I never went on the air ever, not once. In fact, I went to KPFA in Berkeley and looked around, and when they said, "Well, you're not going to make any money," I was like, "What?" And then when I was going to my teacher, who was K Jazz, he was the main head DJ. He was like, "You're not going to make any money. You're just going to do this because you dig it." And I was like, "Wait a minute. What do you mean I'm not going to make any money? I want to make some money." And then they were also telling me, "Oh, you're going to be working the 3 o'clock shift in Bakersfield, or 3 a.m." And I was like, "Well, wait a minute. I'm not going to do that." And then I had this nightclub gig drop in my lap as to be a DJ, and it was this this dude, man. He had this club. He was a white guy. He had this all white club up in Oakland. It was rock bands, and he wanted to go disco because that was the happening thing. It was 1979, 1980. He wanted to do disco, and so he went. As soon as he went disco, the club went all black. Like he went from having this white rocker crowd to all black, and I was the head DJ, and for some reason I had a knack for it, and I just knew what to do. And I just got up there, and there was a nice booth, and I just started playing all these because I already had all that music from when I was younger, and I already knew all that music, and I just started playing it, and they go
The
crazy.
Curtis Mayfield and Willie Hutch and those
Yeah, but
guys.
like Commodores, like stuff like that, like stuff you already knew about. I already knew some of that
I mean,
stuff.
I thought that you'd be. I mean, you had to sing for your supper and make a living, but I didn't think disco to me was a disaster.
It was for the bands. They hated us. Oh my God. It was just like a war.
Right.
And we always say, well, we'll play your stuff. Just make a record and give it to us and we'll play it and we'll promote it. Which later we did. I mean, we put Madonna on the map. I mean, we took all those artists, Prince. We played those guys to death in the clubs. Billy Ocean, Caribbean Queen. There's a lot of this stuff would have never probably hit the clubs broke those songs. And so, but this was before all that, and you know, they didn't like it. The bands didn't like it very much. They looked at it as they were losing their place to gig, and we were
Well, but
pushing
I
them
mean,
out.
the whole live musical experience is supposed to be a spiritual experience. And here's the thing. How my question for you is, how do you take the records to create a mood that is spiritual for the peeps in the audience?
Well, you want to like build the energy. You want it to like just peak, and you want to keep it. You just want to make sure you don't let the energy drop. You just keep every record that you bring in and that you mix in has to just keep building and building and the energy and just keep it going. And then at some point you're going to peak. You can't keep people going forever, And when you say spiritually, I don't know when people are drunk on the dance floor, and
No, well, that I'm not. I'm just talking about. I'm talking about a lot.
spiritual.
I'm talking about live music. You don't have to be you can be totally sober. It's the collective consciousness that's coming from the bandstand of the people and back. That's the
Right,
magic of music,
right,
and so when you just have a single person, putting it
right.
down. But all I'm saying is it has nothing to do with whether you're high or not.
Well, I would think it's all about the songs you choose and the records you play. That's all it is. It's I think a DJ is only the records he picks out and the records that are in his box behind him.
So uh, you had a traveling DJ. Can you talk about where that concept came from?
Well, because back in those days you didn't make very much money in the clubs. Maybe 20,000 a year if you were
That's
lucky.
pretty good.
That wasn't good enough. I mean, once people would come up to the booth and say, "Hey, Leslie C, come, can you play at my wedding? You know, can you
And there was
play?"
so much cocaine around at that time too. It was really a
Yeah,
disaster.
yeah, there
I
was
feel
a,
like it really was um,
yeah, yeah,
something that really. Um,
yeah. There was a lot of drugs, but people would want me to come to their parties and DJ their weddings, and so I put together a sound system, and then I did, and I got a van, and I just start going, setting it up, going to the halls, and it just kept building and building and building, and word of mouth, people dug it, and it was fun. And like I said, I just had a knack for playing the songs, and I never, I never tried to. When I was playing in the clubs, it was all about what I wanted to play, and it was me, um, like you said, making an experience. And I wanted to play stuff they never heard before, and I wanted to weave new stuff in and out, and I wanted to use the B sides of records with the dance breaks, and keep it going with that. Like I said, it's all about the energy. But when you play at people's parties and stuff, you're just a human jukebox. They just want to hear the songs. They just want give us some Earth, Wind and Fire, and give us Sister Sledge, We Are Family. You get kind of tired of that. But where I had a good time at these mobile parties was during the dinner time, the during the cocktail hour, where I get to play Duke Ellington and McCoy Tyner, Satin Doll. That's where I really loved that. And people really responded to it. And no other DJs were doing that.
I dig that you really threw in the jazz.
Always,
Where did,
always where I could.
but so when did you get a chance to? I mean, you played the original Headhunters album quite a bit, and that was '73 when that came out. Where were
Yeah.
you in '73?
I lived in Southern California,
What were you up to at that time?
surfing at the beach.
You were surfing
Yeah,
in '73. You were surfing on the beach.
right. But I came. No, wait a minute. No, no, no. I was still in high school. Wait a minute. I graduated in '74, and I went to Southern California to surf, basically, to be a hippie and surf and eat sprouts and.
Were you living in Topanga Canyon?
No, I was in North County, San Diego, North County, Cardiff, Encinitas, Leucadia, little surf towns. You go there now, and they're so built up. They're just, oh my gosh, it's just wall to wall people
So you were
now.
just you were just living life
Yeah,
at that time. But were
right.
you
Just bouncing around.
right? And like, did the music scene and the livelihood that it created, did it help center you, or would you really just prefer to be at sea?
At sea?
Well, I mean, like you were surfing, and
Right. That's
I see you in this, like, sort of
sitting on my board out there,
like a
floating
mermaid
around.
kind of thing. Like,
No, that was really great, but I got kind of bored after a while. I was like, well, what are you doing with your life? I mean, what are you going to be? And so I came back here to the Bay Area. That's where I really got involved with music.
um, who were some mentors you can point to and that gave you some opportunities?
Well, Nick Leguizos from Bata, who's passed away, and Adrian Santos, who was a big DJ here in town at Silks. Thousands of people played for thousands of people. Um, this guy named Mondo Bizarro, who was the DJ at the Palladium, who brought me over to San Francisco and trained me, taught me how to.
The Palladium in New York.
No, in San Francisco, we had a Palladium in San
You did have
Francisco.
Palladium there.
Yeah, and just a lot of guys, and then when I worked in Oakland before I went to the city, I don't know, there was a couple of guys, Ronnie McTwire, who was the manager at the Lucky Lion. There was all black club with me in the booth. Oh man, the dudes used to come up to me and go, "Where's the DJ?" And I'd be like, "Sorry, right here." But they were so I was rocking the dance floor the whole time. So for the most part, they didn't hassle me. You know what I mean? I mean, I would just play like Rapper's Delight. I could mix that thing for 45 minutes if I wanted to. And you know what I mean? It's like, okay, here you go. You guys want Rapper's Delight? Well, you're going to get it. You're going to probably drop eventually, but you're going to get it. And then I would say, as far as that goes, yeah, as far as getting into the clubs and, you know, the guys that helped me out. And
Um,
Nick Leguiso, he introduced me to Billboard magazine out of New York, and they gave me a reportership, which was quite an accomplishment. Actually, I was the only woman in the United States who reported to Billboard magazine, and I reported my weekly playlist to Billboard magazine, and there was 100 DJs in the United States that we all reported our weekly playlist to the magazine, and they printed it in their in their dance chart. And so that I was very influential, and so I got a lot of, like, I don't know, kind of could say payola from the
mhm.
record labels. And they would call all the time. They would come into town. They would take me out. If I went to New York, they would just style me up and take me all over the place. And it was fun. And that's how I got a lot of my records. As you've seen, I've got over 10,000 records. I have, they're actually spread all over the place. I wish I could bring all my record collection together.
That's a lot of records to put
I
together.
know, but they used to be. I used to have all my records together, but but that was cool, doing the Billboard magazine thing. I did it for 6 years, and the labels would call me every week and, did you get our records? And are you going to play our records? And which records are you playing? And, oh, you're not playing that? You know? What was that one song? what was that one tune? Bangkok. I forgot. Now I'm starting to forget everything.
Um,
I don't remember. What was that one song? Anyway, it was so funny. I
it'll
won't
come
play
to
it.
you. But the talking to DJ Leslie C here on the Jake Feinberg show, I'm just having a ball. Um, what did you how big a part does music play in your life today?
Hardly anything. It's sad. It's like the shoemaker's kids have no shoes. I don't even have a turntable set up in the house.
Why is this?
Because I've been under construction doing house renovations for 10 years on a major fixer-upper project on an old Victorian. And, I did have my records here at one time, and then they got hauled off to storage, and then they got hauled back to a garage here in town. But, I miss the jazz, my jazz collection. But I'd sure like to hear, Sugar by Stanley Turrentine every once in a while, or Salt Song, just to make me feel good. Or what was that one song by the Crusaders?
Put it where you
Street
want.
Life.
Well, yeah.
Oh, I love that song. I just need to hear it sometimes.
Um, can you talk about your soul and what the deep, how deep your soul is?
Well, I don't really think about that kind of thing too often. Um, I always wonder if it was because that I was forced into, when I was little, I had to go to church. And, it was, you get so indoctrinated into this, you know, God and heaven and hell and, the whole thing. And it scared me a lot. And I rejected it. And I don't
Why did
think,
it scare you?
well, when you're little and
But
there's hell
but
and
no,
the devil and
but
then God, and then if you mess up, you're not going.
was it the way it was forced down to you, or like if someone had, I don't know, was it more the application of it, or was
I'm
it
just too logical. It was never going to sink in.
anyway? So that didn't work out.
Right, and so I'm a logical person, and so I tend not to think about what you're talking about that much. I don't really think about it that
But what do you
much.
what do you think? Because I asked the question, what's your response to that? Because I think you have a desire to really always push the envelope, and that speaks to a sanctified uh, element, soul element. So I wanted you to talk about your soul.
Well, I do believe that we all have a soul. I do believe that, and I think that we've lived before. Sometimes I think, that we could have lived before.
Absolutely, we did.
you know. And I also believe that when you die, something does probably go up. There's just too many people I've seen, including me, something come back to you that had died. And so when you go through these little things through your life, then you go, wow, you know, well, what's it all about, Alfie? I couldn't help it. I don't know. It's just, I don't think about it a lot, but um, I don't know. I don't believe in heaven and hell though. And
But no, but we believe in reincarnation.
yeah, I could believe that. I could go there.
Have you do you like do you have spirits come visit you? Like people from your past, your father, for instance?
I actually thought my father came back as my dog.
Really?
Yeah, my dog, because he took such good care of me for 10 years. We were just like that. And sometimes I used to look at him like, oh my God, Dad,
But this
did you
is
just.
this is a different
No,
dog.
not this clown that I have
Oh,
now.
what a great cat he
He's
is.
a cool dog that I have now. But I had an amazing dog. Like people used to tell me, whoa, that dog's like a human. And people would get dogs thinking they were like my dog, and they'd be like, what happened? I go, no, he's different.
Yeah.
He's not like a normal dog. And he was just one of those great, great spirits, beings that came, and I got so lucky that he came to me.
Of course.
And yeah, he could make me cry anytime if I think about him. Yeah, that was a beautiful thing. So, but I don't know. I do. I don't think about it a lot. This kind of stuff you're asking me right now. I'll probably think about it more now that you've asked, and I'll start remembering things and go, oh yeah, wait a minute, what was
Because I
that?
think it's either been stifled or just dormant,
Well, definitely stifle because of, like I
so
said, with the church thing.
when did you start to liberate yourself? Very early on from the
Yeah,
dogma,
yeah.
and like so you were skipping Sunday school and
Well, they made me go until I could like rebel. I think I rebelled. I was 15, but I checked out when I was probably like 6. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't buying it,
right.
even from the littlest. I just didn't buy it. I would say to myself, how is that possible? I just didn't. I'm
Did
not
you
a
did,
believer. I have to have facts. I need proof.
right? And you also tried to expand consciousness along the way. I mean, did you get involved with any gurus at any point?
You know, I went through the whole Eckhart Tolle thing that everybody else did,
Can
where,
you for the layperson? Can you talk? Can you unpack that?
well, I'm a lay person. I
No, you're
mean,
not.
it's not like I'm Oprah or something. I just felt like there was something about being still, and you know what I mean, and I wasn't being still and calming your mind. But now I think the opposite. I think, why should I calm my mind? I like to think. I like to let my mind go. It's fun. So, but but at the same time, there is a time and place where you really should know how to meditate. Everybody should know how to meditate.
But I think meditation comes in many different forms.
Yeah, I guess I never thought of it like that.
Yeah. I mean, playing music is very meditative.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah, I tried to be a musician before I was a DJ, and I just didn't have the ear. I wasn't talented. So I had to
you
do
couldn't
the.
you couldn't go to a professional level.
No way.
Yeah.
And
Well, but
so,
everybody has their own internal time feel. Everyone can be a musician, in their own way. Maybe not getting to the highest level, but it's the internal
right.
rhythm. I mean, it's the rhythm the Salt Song and stuff that had a lot of additional percussion on it aside from just drums.
That's
There's a lot of
true.
Brazilian percussion.
That's
There's a lot
true.
of stuff. So your
Yeah.
ear was very open. You like
Right.
polyrhythms a lot.
Yeah.
So your brain
Yeah.
was open quite a bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can
I
you
guess
can you
so.
are you did you um do you have any children?
No.
And have you ever been married?
No.
That's so. Can you, as a woman, with the expectations in this society of women,
Right.
as it relates to being domesticated and having raising a family, whatnot. How have you dealt with that in your life? Because um, it seems like
I've accepted it. Just I would have had kids if the right person came along, but I really wanted to. I wanted somebody to share it. I just didn't want to just do it, and I didn't want to get a divorce. And my parents had a terrible relationship, and I didn't want to do anything like that. And so, I just kept waiting and waiting and waiting and hoping. But then I got too old. And that's the thing about being a female is when they say, the talk is ticking, it is. But I didn't think so. I just thought, oh, you could do it till you're 50, but you can't. And so I just kind of missed my chance to have a family and stuff. It would have been nice, because it's hard to do everything by yourself, all alone. And basically, I just hire everybody to help me, whereas my friends, girlfriends and stuff have their husbands to do it. But
right. Do you feel like you are a very fertile person, though?
well, I was, but
Yeah,
of course, that's all in the past.
it is. But I mean, at the end of the day, what have you been inspired by recently that you can talk about?
Wow. What have I been inspired by? God, there's been so many things that have been bugging me.
I know.
And what have I mean, I'm so annoyed with the politics right now, and I'm annoyed with
Hmm.
rent control because I'm a landlord, but I'm a progressive liberal. So I was like, ah. And then I'm annoyed at the pot. That's what's going down with the pot business in California because, tens of thousands of little pot growers just got pushed out, and it bugs me. And then I'm annoyed.
That wasn't my question. You're riffing
I
all that. Yeah.
know. I'm what ins not rat and the only thing that would I could say that would inspire me is if I could work on my house some more. I always feel inspired to create this beautiful place. I always want to be creating something beautiful. I want to be working in my garden or around my house, but I don't know what inspires me. That's a good question, I guess.
Dr. DJ Leslie C., this is part one. It was so great to hang with you.
Thanks for your time.
We'll be back in a little bit.